Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and before you head to that dislike button because you didn't like the thumbnail of this video, let me explain. No, I didn't actually think the movie was that bad. The reason that's the thumbnail is because I want to do a test. The Steven Universe community is known as a pretty toxic one, as far as if a YouTuber criticizes the show in little ways, then pretty much everybody gets super mad. So if I start to see just a bunch of dislikes on this video, I'll know that people saw the thumbnail, they clicked on the video, disliked the video, and then left without even hearing me out. And that is proving the toxicity of the Steven Universe fandom, which is one of the reasons I don't consistently make videos about Steven Universe. With that being said though, I am going to be talking about my two biggest problems with this movie, and basically that's just it. Like, sure, the movie was okay, it wasn't that bad actually. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't follow Steven Universe regularly. Like, when the finale came out, I just kind of let it sit there for a couple weeks and didn't really watch it, and then eventually I was like, alright, fine, I'll watch it. So my knowledge of Steven Universe isn't as big as someone like the Roundtable. So if I say something that didn't make sense to me, and then you guys know, hey, we know why this is, and you explain it to me, then okay, that's good. I just didn't know. So keep that in mind. I'm saying my opinions based on the level of knowledge that most people watching the show probably have, because most people aren't mega fans like you guys are watching this video. So overall, I thought the concept of this movie was pretty cool. Now, I'm not really the biggest fan of the musicals, but this one, it wasn't super bad to where like I wanted to skip the music. The music kind of helped it a little bit, but in most cases I prefer to have things explained to me through lore, not through song, and I think that songs just take up too much time in a movie, for example, but that's why it's a movie, so it can take a longer time. So that's just my opinion. I like non-musicals, but that was just the style of movie that this was, so we're not gonna that's not a big problem with this movie. That's just my own personal preference. Now, the first problem that I have with this movie is basically Steven's power ability. When he loses it to Spinel, he basically should have no powers, right? Even the ones that has faded, like his shield, it showed up for a little bit, but it was only for a little bit. So it should have just not been there at all, because the gems that were affected that aren't Steven, they completely lost their memory. It wasn't like they had a little bit of it, it was completely gone. Now, you could counter that by saying, hey, they could eventually regain their memory back, and that's why they didn't have any at that time, because they had to regain it all at once. Well, the same could be said with Steven's powers. He regained them all at once, just like everyone else regained their memories back all at once. So what should have happened was Steven had no abilities whatsoever. So like when he saved Ruby from that anvil with his shield, that shouldn't have happened. Now, okay, I can see fine. He has some powers that are fading, and he can summon the shield for a couple seconds, whatever. I get that, it's understandable. But the real problem I have with this is when Steven and his father fused. That made absolutely no sense whatsoever. The first thing that Steven was able to do was summon the shield. And that should mean that summoning the shield would be the easiest thing to do. And if Steven was struggling to summon even a tiny shield, how the heck was he able to completely change his form and fuse? Something that took seasons? Was it seasons? I don't know. Something that took him so long to figure out how to do. Now, if he was able to fuse just for a couple seconds, that's understandable, fine, I get it. You know, he can use his power for a couple seconds. But he stayed in that form for 4 minutes. He had a whole song in that form. That's unrealistic. Plus, he was using his power to fly, which is even more unrealistic. How the heck is he able to not only change his form and fuse, but also fly and make 2 other people fly with him? That was just completely unrealistic, and that's one thing that I really disliked about this movie, is just the fact that they were able to do that. That didn't make any sense, and it's like, okay, is his powers gone or not? Like, those show writers are just like, okay, well, we want this, his powers are gone, so either, we could find something else for him to do, but, oh, we really like this idea, so, let's just make an exception just this once, It'll only happen once. It doesn't matter if it happens any other times, because it won't. It's only going to happen this one time. So that was my first biggest problem with this show. I think the second point's a little bit bigger in my opinion, because this is like, okay, sure, whatever, it's kind of annoying and it doesn't make sense, but the next one really should have changed the outcome of how this movie ended. So when Spinel and Steven were fighting, that whole injector literally broke, okay? It broke, all the fluids got released into the earth, and Peridot and all of them were saying, oh my gosh, this is gonna cause the earth to die if all the liquid goes in. And it gave us the sense of tension, like, oh man, we cannot let that fluid get into the earth or leave the thing. We just have to find a way to stop it or take it out of the earth without it exploding or whatever. But guess what happened at the end of the movie? That whole thing exploded, all the fluids were released onto the earth, and guess what else happened? The earth didn't die. As soon as that happened, I was expecting like, oh my gosh, all of Earth just should be dead, right? Because, I mean, that's what they made it seem like would happen. All of Earth was going to die. It was poison that would kill every biological piece of life on Earth. But guess what it did? Basically nothing. But Aiden, look at all the cracks in the Earth. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Look at all the green in the background. Like, there was only a little bit where the injector was first inputted that the grass was completely gone. Okay, that just didn't make sense at all. We were all expecting there to be this huge devastating thing that happens if the injector injected all of the fluid into the earth. But guess what happened? Nothing. It took Steven, what, probably a year or two, maybe, I don't know, to go around and kiss all of the earth and bring it back to life and to fix everything. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, Steven reviving the earth, sure, whatever, I don't care, that makes sense. But the fact that the earth wasn't dead by the time that he came around to fix it, that's what doesn't make sense to me. The injector, you might as well not have had an injector at all, because it basically didn't do anything other than giving you a few extra minutes to show saving the town or whatever. So that was probably my biggest problem, is that the injector didn't actually mean anything. It was just there. It's the way I like to think of it is the show writers, you know, they were like, okay, so we'll have the injector blow up, right? And then Spinel and Steven fight. Spinel's finally like, all right, fine, I give up. And then somebody else in the show writer's room is like, wait, what about the injector? It exploded, all the fluids everywhere. And then they're like, oh, well, we've already written it, so let's just pretend like it didn't happen or something. So those were just the biggest problems I had with this movie. And aside, like, it's kind of like just basic movie or show stuff that you would kind of expect. I think more so in Steven Universe, especially with the injector thing. That's something that I find common in Steven Universe, is like, okay, you know, let's focus on the characters and not so much the plot. If there's like some stupid things that happen within the plot, it doesn't really matter because we care about the characters, which is okay. That's just a style of writing that they have. But personally, I like both the plot and the characters to evolve, and for them to both live equally, because if you have just a plot that kind of just goes wherever, just depending, like if the characters can mold the plot too easily, then it's not the best, because then the characters are just everything and you might as well not have a plot. But overall, the movie was good. I enjoyed it. Was it worth the hour and a half that it took me to watch yesterday? I guess so. I mean, I don't follow Steven Universe too heavily, but you know what? It was enjoyable. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, you can leave a like. If you stayed for 5 seconds just to click that dislike button, you can leave a dislike. Or, I mean, if you just don't like me, then you can also dislike it. But I probably won't make any more Steven Universe videos, or if I do, it's like going to be super rare or something. So if you're looking to subscribe only for Steven Universe videos, you might not want to, because I won't make any. So just subscribe if you like me and like the other shows that I talk about. But anyway, that's going to be it for me, and I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Who is Amethyst?